What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back here with another fantasy football video. Today I'm talking week 3 buy lows and sell highs. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Post a ton of weekly content that will help you beat your friends and family at fantasy football. You want to bring that fantasy championship home, hit that subscribe button. Post weekly rankings, waiver wire videos, as well as weekly takeaways and buy lows and sell highs. Respond to all comments as well. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. I can help you guys out if you need any fantasy football advice. And if you hit that like button, it really helps out the algorithm as well as the comments. So please keep them coming. Without further ado, let's talk our first buy low. It's A.J. Brown. We saw him have over 140 targets last year, 10 targets in week 1, 6 targets, but hasn't, had that monster game yet. I think it's coming. I think it'll be this week against Tampa. If not, Washington's a good matchup as well. Honestly, so are the Rams for him. But I am all over A.J. Brown, trying to acquire him in deals currently. Would love to acquire, I had Amari Cooper in the league. I offered Amari Cooper and Tyler Lockett in the league for A.J. Brown. I'd easily do that all day. Try to do something like that. Take a piece in that Amari Cooper tier, maybe even a better than Lockett, or a running back or something like that, and offer them for A.J. Brown. I view him as a top 10 wide receiver rest of the season, probably still basically where you drafted him. I've had him think as a 6 wide receiver. I view him very highly moving forward the rest of the season, so I'll definitely buy A.J. Brown. Another buy at receiver that for me is Christian Watson. Now, we don't know for sure if he's going to suit up in this contest. Limited participant practice on Wednesday. At least he's practicing, though. That's a good sign. But I think he is going to be dynamite when he takes the field. He was one of my wide receiver league winners, and obviously the injury has lowered his progress a little bit. I think with the uncertainty on whether he plays this week, I think now is when you acquire him. Jordan Love's looked good. He's tied for first in the league in touchdowns thrown. Even though the efficiency numbers might come down, I still think Christian Watson is going to be the vocal point of this offensive passing game when he returns. Going to be very good for fantasy football. You can acquire him for not a ton right now, and I would love to go out there and do that while some fantasy managers might be a little bit worried about him. Another guy, another elite option that's available, Jalen Waddle. We all know he's an absolute stud. The targets will come to him, only 5 and 6 so far, but he is 78 yards and 86 yards with that type of target volume. That will increase, don't you worry. And Jalen Waddle is just a dynamic talent. I have really no worries about it. He will get it going, and he will be used a lot more in that offense moving forward. Another guy who the targets are starting to line up for him, Mike Williams, missed some of that first contest with a head injury. And sure, he can go down, but so can anybody in fantasy. But 5 targets in that first game, like I say, missed some snaps. 13 this last week. Good matchup, high over-under this week against Minnesota. Would love to get him. He can have those high explosion games. And even last week, I'd be happy with 83 yards and 8 receptions for my wide receiver 2 or something like that. I think you can acquire him for, people view him currently as wide receiver 20 or something like that or worse. Love to go out and acquire him currently. I just think Justin Herbert's going to be really good for fantasy football this season and would love to own Mike Williams. Let's talk some running backs. Joe Mixon, I think, is going to get a lot of work, especially with this Joe Burrow injury. They're going to lean on him even more, and he's already getting a ton of volume. We see 13 for 56, 13 for 59, 3 receptions, 4 receptions. He's used heavily in the passing game. He's a goal line back for an offense that should improve. I'm a little worried about this week, but still, like I said, I bet he's closer to 18 carries this week against the Rams and is still going to be catching a lot of passes. And that offense, I think, will improve as the season goes on. Another guy just coming off a bad game, but his usage so far this year has been fantastic. That's Travis Etienne Jr. Like I said, didn't produce a ton for fantasy this last week, but still 14 touches on a game that did not go their way. And he's the lead back there by a wide margin. I would love to trade for Travis Etienne. Ramondre Stevenson, a trade I offered the other day, and I might tweak it even a little bit, but I offered Derrick Henry for Ramondre Stevenson and Christian Watson, trying to buy low on something like that. I would love to get that. I might even add a little bit in on a deal like that. That's just another example. But Stevenson I like because of the passing game usage. He looks to be used just as much in the passing game as he was last year. They've been throwing a ton of passes. He is the guy there. You don't need to worry about it, and he has a good talent. Philly, obviously, they've got a great defensive line, and Miami did bottle them up, but in another tough matchup with the Jets and Dallas and the New Orleans. So if you want to wait a little bit, you can try, but honestly, I think the receiving numbers are still going to keep him as a back-end RB1, and then after that, he can, launch. even higher. Now, let's talk the sell high players. These are guys that I want to move. They're not even maybe performing so well, but players I would try to move on from. Javonte Williams would be one of them for me. I just don't think he's going to be that efficient in year one from this knee injury. Not a guy I really want to be buying. I would love to see if I could take Javonte Williams, maybe turn him into a Dameon Pierce, who struggled as well, but Dameon Pierce isn't coming off a monster injury. He played this last week without 4 of his 5 starting offensive linemen sitting. So replacement, they don't even keep that many offensive linemen on a roster most of the time. So playing with practice squad players and things like that. But that's like a position move, or if I could say I'll take Javonte, package him with a wide receiver, and get a Christian Watson, would love to do that. Another guy, this is more of a traditional sell-high player, Brian Robinson Jr. Now, I do think his workload will be pretty secure for moving forward. He'll get, high teens and carries, be used a little bit in the passing game, which is nice. Not a ton, but, catch a pass or 2 per contest. But he was the number 1 RB coming off that last week. If you can sell him for an elite option, maybe turn him into a Travis Etienne or a Ramondre Stevenson with a piece, I would love to do something like that. And I think now is definitely the opportunity to do that. And you can pitch them on him just being the guy there and being used so much. Next up, we have a wide receiver, Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans is going to be good for fantasy football this year, but he's currently the wide receiver 2, and has had just monster games so far to start the contest, or to start the year, I would try to sell high on him. Like if I could turn Mike Evans into, Mike Evans and a piece into Calvin Ridley, would love to do something like that with Calvin Ridley coming off a bad game. Again, I'm not saying these guys are going to be bad for fantasy. I'm just saying that with the way they produce so far, you have the opportunity to sell above their real value. Capitalize on it. DeAndre Swift is my next one. I just don't think he's ever going to be utilized as much as he was last week. I think there's somebody in everybody's league that's going to buy into him being just the guy in Philly now. I think everybody that's ever had him is worried about him getting injured as well, so I just can't really imagine them turning over just a crazy starter role to him. Obviously, you don't need 28 carries, though, to get 100 rushing yards. He got 175 and 28 carries last week, so even if he's getting 14, he could still be produced for fantasy football. But I do think Gainwell is going to come back, be more involved than people want to believe. And I think you could sell DeAndre Swift for a real startable asset. Like if I could trade DeAndre Swift right now for Christian Watson, I would do it in a heartbeat. All right, that will conclude this week's edition of Buy Low, Sell Highs. Hopefully it was helpful. If you guys have any trade questions, drop them in the comment section down below. Check out my other videos, rankings, takeaways, all that stuff to keep up to date for fantasy football for the rest of the season. This has been Fantasy Joe. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.